Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip board meeting. Today is April 15th, 2019. We'll call this meeting order at 7:32. We call the roll, please.
Yes, Mayor Ryan. Trustee McGreal is absent this evening. Trustee Dalzell.
Here.
Trustee Zielinski.
Here.
Trustee Juarez. Here. Trustee McLaughlin.
Here.
Trustee Murphy.
Here.
Mayor Ryan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we've got a lot of, it looks like a busy agenda. This shouldn't be too bad. There's a lot of text. We've got a lot of ordinances that we need to approve this evening, so we'll try and get right through everything. Starting with my report first, I'd like to ask everyone to please keep in your prayers the Frank Heider family. Frank Heider passed away last week. Frank was a 66-year resident of Alsip. I had the pleasure of meeting Saturday night, at his wake with his family, and Frank was a former village trustee. He was a former school trustee, and for I believe it was almost 40 years. I don't have the exact dates in front of me, but Frank was the civil defense director here at the same time. How long was it, Trustee Alsip? About
long
40?
time.
45 years, something like that. You know, and we, our new civil defense person, which is known as our director of emergency preparedness, Chuck Tracy, was there with me, and Chuck fortunately met with Mr. Heider just last week and brought him up to speed on Chuck's programs and all the clerk and so forth, everybody helping out with their volunteering to the new CERT program. That our civil defense is now known as CERT. It's CERT. It's the Community Emergency Response Team. And again, we appreciate Mr. Heider's service to our community. When I was first elected back in 2011 as a trustee, Mr. Heider took interest in me, and every month he would leave me a magazine on governing and make you a better representative to the community, and certainly he was in love with this community. So we appreciate his time and his dedication to our community, the Village of Alsip. Next I had on here was there's a presentation on April 25th. This is going to be presented by the Circuit Court of Cook County's Elder Justice Center. This is a free senior enrichment seminar series. It's a senior's guide to property tax savings, and the question is, are you paying too much? Topics will include eligibility for various property tax exemptions and assessment freezes, senior citizen tax deferral programs, certificates of error, tax sale procedures, and more. They've got a couple of speakers that will be there. This is going to be held Thursday, April 25th, 2019, from noon till 1:30 at the Richard J. Daley Center downtown at 50 West Washington. And we're going to post this on, I'll have my assistant Becky get this on social media and our website, but we'll put it in the hallway as well. You can register, contact the Circuit Court of Cook County Elder Justice Center, and I'll put this out in the hallway for everybody. The other thing coming up, everyone, for the board anyway, please keep in mind, there is a newly elected officials workshop that's going to be held Saturday, June 8th, 2019, from 7:30 in the morning till noon at the South Suburban Mayor's and Manager's office over in East Hazelcrest. This is for newly elected or long-serving officials who need a refresher on municipal government. I've taken this class before. It's a good program. If you feel you need to attend, it's a good idea to do so. And again, I'll get this in everybody's mailbox so that you have a copy of this as well then too. I also cut something out here too I wanted to show everybody. This month April is also known as National Distracted Awareness Month. So the Illinois Department of Transportation and the Illinois State Police and more than 100 city and county and law enforcement agencies are reminding drivers to put down their phones and focus on driving. In April, motorists will see an increased patrols of enforcement zones across Illinois to ticket drivers using handheld devices. Distracted driving has become one of the leading causes of vehicle crashes. 3,100 people died in motor vehicle crashes in 2017 because of distracted driving. Illinois law prohibits the use of a handheld electronic device for any purpose, including talking, texting, or using apps. Drivers under the age of 19 are prohibited from using any electronic devices, even hands-free. So please, it's just as a reminder, they say if you need to text, pull over and park your car in a safe location, to do so, or ask a designated passenger to handle that duty for you. And last, I was going to put on here too, we had a department head meeting a week or so ago, and I had actually Deputy Chief Schultz shared a nice story with me about how we had a senior citizen in one of our 55 and older communities got behind the wheel and drove herself all the way up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and couldn't find her way back. And the Milwaukee Police Department was nice enough to take this woman and drive her back to Alsip on their time, and they paid for they drove her car with a follow car, and they were good enough to drive her all the way back to Alsip. So we really appreciate that, the Milwaukee Police Department, and I'm certainly going to send a letter of thanks to both their department and their mayor out there. It was very nice of them to do so. She's got no family in Illinois. All of her family's in Germany. And when they asked for a contact here, the only people she had was the management company over at Zeiler and our police department here. That's all they had. So we appreciate efforts on both parts. And Deputy Chief Schultz, you're saying that our crime prevention officer, Officer Merlo, is working with the programs for the aged to try and help her out and stuff then too?
Yes, he's working with FLOWS, also with the Illinois Guardian program. We're also going to make sure that she's in, we're launching Smart 911. We're going to make sure that she's in there with appropriate contacts as well.
That's great. Thanks, Chief. And that's all I had for my report this evening. Clerk's report?
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. First off, we have the approval of the March 2019 FOIA report. There were 42 requests last month, so it was very busy. Second is approval for Erica O'Donnell to participate in a webinar on the essentials of front desk safety and security at a cost of $149. And then we have a lot of minutes to approve. We have the presentation and approval of the March 4th, 2019 Board of Trustee meeting minutes, the March 18th, 2019 Board of Trustee meeting minutes, the March 25th Special Board of Trustee meeting minutes, and the April 1st, 2019 Board of Trustee meeting minutes. And that is all, Mayor Ryan.
Thank you. Attorney's report, we have Joe Kankar with us.
I have no report, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you. Engineer's report, Will?
Nothing other than they continuing to work on the cleaning and televising for the sewer.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Just making a quick note on something else. We reached the public forum part of our meeting. Would anyone in the audience wish to address the board this evening? Anything? None? All right. Thank you. Then we'll move on to the standing committee reports. First is Finance Committee. Trustee McLaughlin.
First, I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated April 12th, 2019, totaling $469,242.44. Next, I have a request for approval of accounts payable dated April 15th, 2019. The recap, General Fund, $632,517.17. Road and Bridge, $84,201.10. MFT, $1,250. Pulaski Road Corridor TIF, $302.50. Water and Sewer, $60,127.42. And Heritage, $36,905.92, for a grand total all funds of $815,304.11. Next, I have a request for approval of an ordinance amending ordinance number 2018-7-5, an ordinance providing for a fiscal year 19 annual appropriation and budget for the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. Next, I have a request for approval of an appropriation ordinance providing for a fiscal year 20 annual appropriation and budget for the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. And finally, I have an approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, approving the reservation of volume cap in connection with private activity bond issues and related matters. And that's all I have under finance.
No problem. I know, again, I'd like to take a quick second. We have a lot of students in the audience as well, too. Please note that the number 3, when we say we're going to amend an ordinance from fiscal year 19, what we're saying is that this is the end of fiscal year 15 with our budget, so any monies that might have been left over in certain budget, in certain line items, we can move to other within the same department, in order to balance, in order to accommodate any budget concerns that might have ran under or over. And
Same thing we did last year.
obviously, we're going to look in this, on number 4 is to approve our new budget for next year, is all that's saying. And the last one was, Joe, could you give a quick overview what the cap was again?
Yeah, so briefly, just that every year, the state of Illinois allocates a certain amount of private activity, what they call volume cap, to all the communities. The home rule communities have an opportunity to reserve that just in case there's a industrial development bond project, or being home rule, you can actually sell your volume cap to another community if there is a project that's available. I reserve it in all of our municipalities like we did last year. I sent out a memo for this. I didn't have an opportunity to sell the volume cap last year, but again, it's just if you don't reserve it, you lose it, so it's better just to do it to be safe, and if you get the opportunity to do it, do it. So again, it's not that the village is issuing bonds or any type of debt. It's just a reservation to act as, somebody else to act as a
You're
conduit.
saying this bond money is ours and we're keeping it.
Well, if it was that easy, yeah.
All right, thank you. The Fire Committee report, Trustee McLaurin.
I have no report this evening, Mayor.
All right, the Police Committee report, committee.
Trustee Dalzell, Juarez, or McLaughlin, please.
Approval of the March 2019 monthly activity report. That's all, Mayor.
All right. The Public Work and Boat Launch report, Trustee Juarez.
I have an approval of the March 2019 monthly activity report, approval to purchase 35 new parkway trees, including installation through West Suburban Municipal Conference Tree Consortium, in the amount not to exceed $13,000. And I also have an approval of the ordinance amending Chapter 19, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 5, Motor Vehicles License, Section 1959, Fees of the Municipal Court of the Village of Alsip. That's all, Mayor.
It's
Article 4,
I'm
sorry.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Also, on a note, I just spoke with one of the previous employees to our boat launch. Boat launch is open right now. The first month of the year, usually we do a honor system over there because we do charge to launch a boat at the boat launch. But should anybody be interested, we are taking applications. We're going to need 1 or 2 people to work at the boat launch this whole summer. Sounds easy, but you got to really have a lot of patience to sit at that boat launch on the Calsad Canal for a half a day at a time. So please, we encourage you to apply if you're interested. It's a nice, safe spot, but I think we do need 1 or 2 people to work that job. Have you got anybody yet, Mike?
I have one returning from last year.
So we need probably 1 person. And you have to be over 18 years old to work that job, to 18 or over, correct?
And it's like typically 20 hours a week-ish.
20 to 25 hours a week.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next is the Building Committee, Trustee Zelinski.
No report this evening, Mayor.
And thank you. And then the Sewer and Water Report, Trustee Dalzell.
The approval of the March 2019 monthly activity report. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. The License Committee, Trustee Juarez.
Approval of the list of licenses dated March 18th through April 5th, 2019.
Thank you. Next is the Economic Development Committee, Trustee Murphy.
I have approval of the March 2019 monthly activity report, and that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Next is the Planning and Zoning Committee, Trustee Zelinski.
No report this evening, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next, the Special Committee Reports, Village Properties, Trustee McLaurin.
No report this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, the Insurance Committee.
I'll take that one.
Thank you.
Long list here. Approval to renew with the Horton Group and the proposed insurance companies as outlined below. Continuing with the Horton Group for the village's insurance policies that expire May 1, 2019 for the following. Package policy with the Hudson Insurance Company, General liability at a cost of $202,445. Public officials liability at a cost included in the package. Law enforcement liability included in the package. And employment practices liability included in the package. Commercial auto liability included in the package. Next, Umbrella 1, $10 million excess or $1 million primary at a cost of $64,318 with Allied World. Next, Umbrella number 2, $5 million excess, $11 million at a cost of $12,650. That's confusing the way that's written. And that is with Westchester Fire Insurance. And finally, workers' compensation at a cost of $559,304 with the Illinois Public Risk Fund. And that's all I have under insurance.
I believe we should read in the credits because actually the annual amount is only $462,847.
But we have to pay the $559, and we get those credits back when we apply for them. So the budget amount is the $559.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, ordinance legislation, Trustee Murphy.
I have approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 4857 West 115th Street, PIN 24-2-405-011-0000 in the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. Next, I have approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 5901 West 115th Street, PIN 24-2-402-0000 in the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. Next, I have approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 4300 West 123rd Street, pins 24-27-206-196-0000 and 24-27-206-197-0000 in the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. Next, I have an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 6, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Section 19-89.4, Parking of Recreational Vehicles and Trailers of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip. And that's all I have, sir.
Very good.
Can we add some more on just for fun?
Yeah.
Really.
Add the water.
And again,
me, Mayor.
Pardon?
In that one, just to be clear, in Section C, number 4, the verbiage in the ordinance itself is semi-trailer, correct?
Yes. Joe, do you have the exact
Pulling it
ordinance
up.
in front of you?
I did exactly what the chief gave me, so you have semi-trailer.
Okay.
F.
What we were
Okay,
saying,
thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, was number 1, 2, and 3 are basically the same request. Number 1 is a Donaldson Machine is opening up a new location at 115th near Cicero. And item number 2 is AA Restoration, going to open up a new location at 5901 West 115th. And at 4300 West 123rd is Lynch Enterprises. All three are asking for a 6B tax assessment, or tax incentive, and what that is an agreement with the village and the Cook County that says typically your taxes are assessed at like 25% of your property value. What this does is for the first 10 years actually brings it down to about 10% for 10 years, and then it ramps up on the 11th year and the 12th year, and in the 13th year you're back to that. But this helps incentivize new business to come to our community. And again, all three are good, reputable businesses, so we look forward to them taking advantage of this, and certainly we appreciate their business coming to our community. The last one was a change in an ordinance, an amendment, and what that was is it's identifying with the ability for someone to drop a semi-trailer on the street without a a truck attached to it. We don't want businesses, maybe they're not large enough to accommodate, like if they're repairing trucks and whatnot, you can't just drop a semi-trailer in front of somebody else's business or on a street unattended, and that's all we're identifying with here then, too. So we want to prohibit that. Next report is the IT. Trustee Dalzell.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, Human Resources Committee.
No report.
Thank you. Health and Pollution, Trustee Murphy.
I have approval of the March 2019 monthly activity report, and in that report is 21 complaints and 2 citations. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Traffic Safety Report, Trustee Dalzell.
No report, Mayor.
Thanks. The trustees, do you have any petitions, presentations, or communications?
I have a couple. Just a reminder that the Fountain Hills golf outing in concerns with the Alsip Industrial Association will take place May 17th at Fountain Hills. There still is time to register for that. As we kind of say, when in these scrambles, it's more like goofing rather than golfing. It's a lot of fun. There are corporate sponsorships available, as well as whole sponsors, and teams of 4 golfers are always welcome. And more information can be found on the Alsip Chamber of Commerce website.
And then just as a reminder, that's to support the Scholarship Foundation.
That's right. And we also have from the Alsip Beautification Committee, there is still time to get your spring flowers. And there is a packet out in the lobby where you can pre-order these, and the deadline for that is on April 26th. And there's quite a bit here, so do take a look at that. If you would like to volunteer for this or volunteer as a beyond that committee, you can get a hold of the Mayor's Assistant, Becky Smith, at bsmith@villageofalsip.org. And that's all I have, sir.
All right, I got a couple, Mayor.
Good.
Friendly reminder that we do not have a meeting next Monday.
That was at the back of my notes as well.
And also a reminder that the Little League Parade is this Saturday at 10 a.m., kicking off in the parking lot at Prairie Junior High.
Okay.
They're kicking off at Prairie, or are they kicking off at Stony?
I saw Prairie.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just a couple of quickies as well, too. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind, May 4th, from 9 till noon, we're going to have our village-wide cleanup day that day. If you're interested in volunteering from 9 till noon, we greatly appreciate your help. We're going to be reaching out to a lot of the local businesses. Last year, we had a nice, a couple of nice groups that came out from some of the companies in the village, so we're looking forward to some more support there. And we'll just try and designate some areas that need a little bit extra manpower cleanup as far as picking up a small amount of refuse. And certainly, again, like I said, I really appreciate your help if you would. May 4th from 9 till noon, it's on a Saturday. And then May 6th, we're going to have a student government night that night here at the village like we did last year. This year, I'm going to have the junior high kids come in. Last year we had the high school kids. This year I'm going to ask the 8th grade kids to come in. And we've got both, like 4 students from Prairie Junior High and 4 kids from Hamlin Upper Grade School coming in yet, too. So we appreciate their attention to this. And both principals got back to me, so they're interested in doing that, and we appreciate their help. So, trustees, does anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Mayor, I just have, I'm sorry.
Sure.
Just one question. As I was looking here last week, the change for the vehicle registration, is that simply the dollar amount for the disabled?
Correct.
Yes.
And I think there was an adjustment on a couple of the other classes by a couple of dollars.
There was
The veterans also.
only one,
That is
the
not included.
veterans is not part of the ordinance. There was something that says you only allowed a handicap or a disabled. There was some language that you'll remember, Trustee Giselle, about indexing, so
Right.
that's
That
been
starts next year.
returned, that's been returned, it starts next year, but
Right.
it's been returned to your ordinance. It was inadvertently left out in 2018. But there's no, the veterans part is not part of it.
And then the clerks, you wanted that, the fact that they have to present the documentation for the disability in person only?
Correct. We require that the seniors come into Village Hall to provide their documentation that they are of a certain age with it, and we've asked for the disabilities as well. We've gotten a lot of pushback in the clerk's office that there was no notation anywhere that the documentation needed to be brought in. So that's why we made it the same for both seniors as well as disabled.
But once they're a senior, aren't they always going to be a senior?
They have to bring in a valid driver's license as well.
But if they had a senior last year, won't they be a senior this year as well?
I understand, but we are requesting that it's brought in every year.
I think I had words with a couple of the girls in the clerk's office, and part of the issue was that the person was not coming in to the hall themselves. Somebody else was advocating for them. And that's where there kind of was a hiccup with, should they be in the hall presenting who they were. So that's kind of how the language read on that they should show up at the window as to who they are, rather than have somebody else coming to the window advocating for them, and you just didn't know if that was the person or not.
But part of the difficulty comes in, though, is, I mean, not all senior citizens or disabled individuals are mobile at all times and or maybe having difficulty during the specified registration dates. You'd think there should be some type of allowance where if they send their driver's license and or their placard and the documentation with somebody.
Well, there is a 2-month window to come in, and I know last year while I was here on a Saturday, there were a couple of occasions when the people were not as mobile as they could be, and we went out to the parking lot and actually verified information for them.
We still mail out, too. They can mail it in, right?
We mail out, and then
Oh, you can't mail out and get the discount.
we mail the registration form out, but they have to bring it in with their documentation to get it.
Got it.
They cannot mail in, and they cannot do it online.
I see.
And again, the reason everybody's saying this is because there's it's for seniors, it's a $5
Correct.
sticker as opposed to $35, so.
For a car plate, correct.
So that's what they're asking to do, is to come in, approve certainly who you are in order to
Right.
take advantage of the discount, so.
All right. But while we're on the topic of that ordinance, I was going to request for it to be pulled from the
Okay.
consent agenda anyway, strictly because of the language in item F. I'm just of the opinion that to say that the only acceptable identification has to be issued by the Social Security Administration, I think is too restrictive. My recommendation would be to add a caveat, in addition to the documentation by Social Security Administration, to provide a disability ID card as issued by the Illinois Secretary of State.
Well, that's what I'll do, trustee. Let me pull that from the agenda. We'll have a little more discussion on that first, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, then I'll visit that right back.
Yep,
Okay.
the letter M.
All right,
I'm sorry.
letter M.
M. You said F, I think.
No,
And can I get a motion to establish the consent agenda?
so moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, that was trustee McLaughlin first and trustee Warren second?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call number 1 to establish the consent agenda. Trustee McGrill is absent. Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski?
Yes.
Trustee Juarez?
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries to establish.
M.
Get a motion then to approve the consent,
So
consent agenda as presented?
Second.
Roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda as presented, filling in some information. Letter G, approval of a list of payroll dated April 12th, 2019, totaling $469,242.44. Letter H, approval of a list of accounts payable dated April 15th, 2019, totaling $815,304.11. Letter I, approval of an ordinance amending ordinance number 2018-07-5, an annual ordinance providing for a fiscal year 19, which is May 1st, 2018 to April 30th, 2019, annual appropriation and budget for the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, will be ordinance number 2019-04-3. Approval of an appropriations ordinance providing for a fiscal year 20, which is May 1st, 2019 to April 30th, 2020, annual appropriations and budget for the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, will be ordinance number 2019-04-4. Item K, approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, approving the reservation of volume cap in connection with the private activity bond issues and related matters, is ordinance number 2019-04-5. Item P, approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 4857 West 115th Street, PIN 24-21-405-011-0000 in the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, will be ordinance number 2019-04-6. Approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 5901 West 115th Street, PIN 24-20-402-0000 in the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, is ordinance number 2019-04-7. Letter R, approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip approving Class 6B assessment status for the real estate located at 4300 West 123rd Street, PINs 24-27-206-196-0000 and 24-27-206-197-0000 in the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, will be ordinance number 2019-04-8. And letter S, an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 6, Stopping, Standing, and Parking, Section 19-89.4, Parking of Recreational Vehicles and Trailers of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip, Illinois, is ordinance number 2019-04-9. Again, this is roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda. Trustee McGreal is absent. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. We'll go back to item that was removed, item M. And just to read into the record, this was the approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 19, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Article 4, Motor Vehicle Licenses, Section 19-59, known as the fees of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip. Trustee McLaughlin, you had a question?
I would like to clarify some language in Section F. I said we didn't get an opportunity to review this at committee. In my opinion, I mean, not all disabled individuals have such status issued by the Social Security Administration. There are certain job classifications that don't pay into Social Security. So when they become permanently disabled, they are not eligible for Social Security disability. So I think as an addition to that, we ought to add language in relation to, in addition to issued by the Social Security Administration, we can provide caveat of an or a disability ID card is issued by the Illinois Secretary of State.
You understand what you're saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, trustees, that would be the question, whether or not we want to amend the language to include an identification for a person to be known as disabled by both the, either or, I should say, either the Social Security Administration or the Secretary of State's office. Because as Trustee McGlawhorn's saying, in some cases, you might not be designated, you might not be officially designated by Social Security as disabled, but you are recognized that by the Secretary of State's office. Do we want to include that language in there?
Can I?
Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Like Trustee Murphy and Clerk Petzel, I also talked to the women up front to make sure I was understanding all of this as well. And I think their concern was the placards. The placards
Correct.
can be easily handled. So the topic never specifically came up to that card, but from my understanding is their problem with people bringing in placards that may not have been theirs or were temporary placards. They wanted to make sure there was something more concrete.
Correct.
I would assume that wouldn't violate the spirit of what they're trying to accomplish, and I think that probably makes sense to be broader.
Yeah, because I mean, is it, the language says right now it's specific to Social Security documentation. And I said the state of Illinois application has a form, it requires doctor authorization and all kinds of validation in order to get this specific ID card. But it is something that is available to citizens who are not necessarily eligible for disability under Social Security. And specifically, there are certain, I'm going to say, classes of union employees that do not pay Social Security. So when they go out on disability, they are not getting their disability through the Social Security Administration, and so therefore they would not have a Social Security Administration card. So that's why I'm throwing this out here as a possible alternative. And it is a photo ID and, you know, goes through all kinds of steps in order to obtain it.
Correct. Joe?
If everybody's in agreement, we can amend it on its face and pass it today. If you guys are all, if you're fine with it.
The sales start when? May 1?
May 1.
Okay, so we have to do it tonight. So if we get consensus on, is everyone okay with adding that language?
Is that enough? I mean, just for a separate reason, myself included in this, I was able to get one of those placards for 6 months because I tore up my ankle, but I never got a photo ID or anything, but I was able to get a placard for a couple of months.
Well, and that was part of the reason why we didn't want to accept the placard as validation, because they are on a temporary basis.
But is there a way to get some kind of medical documentation instead? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think the intention is probably, I mean, that we want permanently disabled
I mean,
individuals and not just
how do the
temporarily.
police know if a placard belongs to a person? Not everybody goes around with this photo ID.
It's coded.
Yeah, there's ID numbers on there.
I know there is,
So-
but I mean, is there an easier way for these people? Because, like I said, I never got a photo ID for it.
I would
Because it was, I would assume it was because it was more of a temporary basis.
But I mean,
Permanently disabled.
does everybody do that? Is that a normal practice for somebody that's disabled to have that kind of documentation too?
Yes.
Okay.
So then,
So if everybody's in agreement, the subsection F will read, instead of the period after Social Security Administration, we'll put a comma or a disability identification card issued by the Illinois Secretary of State, period. And I can send a copy of that ordinance tomorrow with the revisions.
I will make that motion as amended then.
Second.
thank you. You second? Trustee Juarez seconded.
Roll call number 3 to approve letter M with the addition of subsection F, added a comma or a disability identification card as issued by the Secretary of State. Is that the correct wording,
It's
Joe?
issued by the Illinois Secretary of State, is it?
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
if they're disabled in Indiana, we're not giving them an Illinois vehicle sticker.
No. Roll call number 3 again to approve letter M. Trustee McGrill is absent. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve letter M as amended.
Very good, thank you. Trustees, any?
Sorry, what
Go ahead.
ordinance number was that again, Sue?
Thank you.
10?
It will be ordinance number 2019-04-10.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Trustee McLaughlin.
Trustees, any unfinished business? I did have one note up with my reports. I just caught it, too. I had a real good conversation today with Chief Miller from the Police Department and Deputy Chief Schultz. We were talking about your traffic surveys that you're doing right now. He said the equipment's working great, and what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, we have equipment that you really don't see in different neighborhoods, but we're actually checking traffic counts, and it'll actually tell us not who, but how many cars may be speeding, how many cars may be obviously violating different laws, and we're taking all that data right now to actually determine where should we deploy any traffic units, where the best time to deploy them and when. Also, with the help of Public Works and the Police Department, we're going to be testing a new temporary speed bump this year instead of the one that we used last year. We're going to be testing one out yet too, so we don't know where we're going to deploy those yet, but should we find the need, we're going to have something there. We got one coming in, Mike, that we're going to test out. Oh, it did. Okay, so we're going to be testing it out and see. And again, we're going to take those up for winter for snowplows and whatnot, but we're doing everything we can to keep your neighborhood safe.
Is winter officially over?
Well, not yesterday it wasn't.
Just wondering.
The groundhog must have made somebody angry.
Exactly. I know.
Know whether to shovel or cut my lawn.
Yeah. Exactly. Everybody had things to do over the weekend. Couldn't get it done. Any new business, trustees? Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for joining us this evening, folks. We'll adjourn this meeting at 8:15.
Did you do that sticky bill?
Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Did you do
Yes, I
this?
did.
Okay.